Hello, beautiful learners. Hopefully, you're doing great. I'm also good by the grace of Almighty. So, it's our day 37, and in this lesson, we are going to practice IELTS listening practice test with answers and proper explanation for achieving band 9. Before going to start our class, I just need to check whether you can hear me or not. Then I will start it, okay?
Test 2.
You will hear a number of different recordings and you have to answer questions on what you hear. There'll be time.
Okay, I'm quite confident that you are listening me as well as the audio track. Now, let's listen the instruction from her as she is talking, okay?
Test 2.
You will hear a number of different recordings and you have to answer questions on what you hear. There'll be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played only once. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers into your answer sheet. Now turn to section 1.
Okay, I hope you got the instruction from her as she was talking. Now, here we have another instruction to follow. So let's read it, okay? No more than 3 words and or number for each answer, for each gap. So let's move on. Here we can see here is a simple one, and the answer of that is William Glass. Okay, now let's listen the sample one first. Okay, let me play the audio and let's listen it.
Section 1. You will hear a time to look at questions 1 to 10. Section 1. Good morning, sir. Are you enjoying the Perfect Home exhibition?
Yes, I am. It's very interesting. I'm planning on buying a home in the near future, and this exhibition has given me some great ideas.
I'm conducting a survey on behalf of the exhibition organisers. Can I take a few minutes of your time to ask you some questions?
Yes, of course. Can we sit down? I'm rather tired after walking around the different exhibits and stands.
Of course. I'll ask my colleague to get you a drink. Coffee?
Yes, please. Milk and 1 sugar. Now, I suppose you'll need my name.
Yes, Mr.
Glass. William Glass. Double S.
Do you have an email address, Mr. Glass?
Okay, this was the sample one, and the answer of this is William Glass. Okay, now we are going to listen it for the real exam. The real example. So here in the first question we have keyword for is email. Okay, now we are going to listen the email address. Okay,
I do. It's wglass@email.com.
so he was saying it's wglass@email.com. So let me write it. Okay, wglass@email.com. Okay, so that would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question number 2, occupation. Okay, let me highlight it. Okay, let's play the audio and listen it.
I'll just fill in the date, 26th of February 2007. Right, what do you do, Mr. Glass?
I work at the Ministry of Culture. I'm a civil servant.
How old are you?
So he was saying I work at the Ministry of culture. I'm a civil servant. So the answer we should write is civil servant. Okay, let me write it. Civil servant. Okay, civil servant would be the answer. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we are going to listen for question number 3, and let's highlight keyword for this question. Okay, marital status. Okay, let's play it.
29.
And your marital status?
I live with my girlfriend.
Right, single. Do you have any children?
No.
So he was saying, the lady was asking on your marital status, and the man was replying that I live with my girlfriend, and the lady was saying right, that means single. So single would be the answer. Okay, let me put it on the place. Okay, single. Okay, wow, amazing what I'm writing. Okay, sorry, single. Okay, now let's listen it for not salary. Okay, let me highlight it. Blah blah thousand per year. Okay,
Girlfriend?
Right, single. Do you have any children?
No.
And could I ask you how much you earn?
Well, I'd rather not say, to be honest.
Could you just look at these ranges and say where you fit in?
Oh, okay. There. 24 to 36,000.
so he was saying 24 to 36. Okay, let me. Okay, I'm confused. Let's listen to one more time.
In.
Oh, okay. There. 24 to 36,000.
Okay, 24 to 36,000. Okay, let me put it. 24 to 36. Okay, would be the answer. Now let's move on to the remaining one. Okay,
A little under. A little under.
now okay, write the appropriate letter on your answer sheet. Current resident, moving. Okay, 0 to 3 months, 4 to 6 months, 7 to 9 months, 10 to 12 months, over 12 months. Size. Okay, size below 100 square meter, 100 to 200 square meter, over 200 square meter. Okay, now let's listen it.
Do you rent or is it yours?
I have a mortgage.
Now, you said that you were anticipating buying another home in the near future. Are you intending to get a house?
Yes, I am. Just a small one.
What's your budget like?
Well, the bank has said that they'll allow me a mortgage of up to £100,000. So enough for a small house.
When you say a small house, what kind of size were you thinking?
Oh, perhaps a little under 200 square metres. With a garden of, oh, I don't know, maybe 20 square metres?
And when do you think you'll buy the property?
Within the next 6 months, hopefully sooner.
Ah, here's your coffee. Thank you, John. Mr. Glass, have you seen any particular properties that you are interested in?
Yes, I have. There's an interesting development going on in the district of Hayden. The government have.
So have you... Ah, buy the property.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, perhaps a little under 200.
House, what kind of size were you thinking?
Oh, perhaps a little under 200 square metres. With a garden of, oh, I don't know, maybe 20 square metres?
And when do you think you'll buy the property?
Within the next 6 months, hopefully sooner.
Okay, so he was saying he was saying it's under 200 square meter. So under 200 square meter would be option B. Okay, let's listen one more time.
Kind of size.
Yes, I am. Just a small one.
What's your budget like?
Well, the bank has said that they'll allow me a mortgage of up to £100,000. So enough for a small house.
When you say a small house, what kind of size were you thinking?
Oh, perhaps a little under 200 square meters. With a
Little under 200 square meter. Okay, would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question number 6. Ownership. Okay, let's listen.
the garden of, oh, I don't know, maybe 20 square meters?
And when do you think you'll buy the property?
Within the next 6 months, hopefully sooner.
Ah, here's your coffee. Thank you, John. Mr. Glass, have you seen any particular properties that you are interested in?
Yeah.
So he said that he had a mortgage from bank. That means he's going to buy the house. So it would be option B because he got mortgage from bank and then he will buy the house. So it would be owner occupier. Okay. Now let's listen it for question number 7. Future residence cost. Okay.
Mr. Glass, have you seen any particular properties that you are interested in?
Yes, I have. There's an interesting development going on in the district of Hayden. The government has joined up with a private company to offer affordable housing there. It's on the outskirts of the city, but the transportation links look excellent. Regular buses to the underground station. That means that it will only take me an hour to get to work in the morning, not much more than it takes now.
They're going to have some nice facilities nearby too.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the cinema complex and the shopping centre, of course. I love films and shopping will be convenient.
There's a golf course nearby too.
Well, I'm sure many of the other residents will appreciate it.
It's nearby too.
Not the ground station, over with a garden of just a small one.
Please earn. Do you have any children?
No.
And could I ask you how much you earn?
Well, I'd rather not say, to be honest.
Could you just look at these ranges and say where you fit in?
Oh, okay. There, 24 to...
Now I'd like to ask you about the property you live in. Do you live in a house or a flat, and how big is it?
I live in a flat. About 100 square meters, a little under.
Do you...
Okay, I'm sorry. The answer would be option A because he was saying the flat. I live in a flat about 100 square meter, a little under. Okay, so that means the answer would be option A. Okay, let's move on to question. Let's listen it one more time for question number 6. Okay.
Do you rent or is it yours?
I have a mortgage.
Now, you said that you were anticipating buying another home in the near...
Okay, so the lady was asking, do you rent or is it yours? So the man was saying, I have a mortgage. So mortgage means he have a mortgage from bank, then he bought the house. So it would be option B because he will buy the house and owner of the occupier would be the exact answer for this. Okay, now let's move on to question number 7. Future residence cost. Okay, let's listen it.
I have a mortgage.
Now, you said that you were anticipating buying another home in the near future. Are you intending to get a house?
Yes, I am. Just a small one.
What's your budget like?
Well, the bank has said that they'll allow me a mortgage of up to £100,000. So enough for a small house.
So here's saying the bank has said that they will allow me a mortgage of up to £100,000. So up to £100,000 would be option B, because you're saying up to 100% thousand. Okay, would be the answer. So option B is perfect, I think. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Size, example garden. Okay, let's listen it.
When you say a small house, what kind of size were you thinking?
Oh, perhaps a little under 200 square meters, with a garden of.
Okay, so he was saying perhaps a little under 200 square meter with garden. So it would be option B. Okay, now let's move on to listen for option 9 and 10. Okay, which people or organization are involved in the head down housing project besides the government? Okay, let's listen it.
Oh, I don't know, maybe 20 square meters?
And when do you think you'll buy the property?
Within the next 6 months, hopefully sooner.
Ah, here's your coffee. Thank you, John. Mr. Glass, have you seen any particular properties that you are interested in?
Yes, I have. There's an interesting development going on in the district of Hayden. The government has joined up with a private company to offer affordable housing there. It's
So he was saying the uh, the government has joined up with a private company to offer affordable housing there. So private company would be the answer. Okay, let's listen it for question number 10. Okay, which facilities will Mr. Glass not use at the head-on housing project? Okay, let's listen it.
on the outskirts of the city, but the transportation links look excellent. Regular buses to the underground station. That means that it will only take me an hour to get to work in the morning, not much more than it takes now.
They're going to have some nice facilities nearby too.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the cinema complex and the shopping centre, of course. I love films and shopping will be convenient.
There's a golf course nearby too.
Well, I'm sure many of the other residents will appreciate it. I'll join the fitness centre instead. Is your company involved in the
Okay, so the answer would be option C. Okay, let me explain to you. As he was saying, um, the lady was saying, the man was first saying, I'm looking for two cinema complex and shopping center. Okay, of course. So these two would we should skip. Okay, because he said he will follow these two. Okay, and then the lady was asking that there is also a golf course nearby too. And the man was replying that, well, I'm sure many of other residents will appreciate it. I will join the fitness center instead of that. So instead of that means he will not join the golf course. So that's me, and that's why the answer we should select is option C. Okay, so that's all about part one. Let's jump into part two. Okay. Okay, here we can see
Now listen.
uh, the question number 11 is what does EEA stand for? Okay, EE stand for, let me highlight it and let's listen it. Okay,
Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 20. Welcome everyone. My name is Pamela Stark and I'm here to tell you about international students and employment in this country. Let me start by stating the most important thing first. Your ability to work in this country while you're here as an international student depends on whether you are an EEA national, that is a European Economic Area national, not.
so EE, and the lady was saying they are an EE international national, that is a European Economic Area national. So European Economic Area would be the answer. Okay, let me put it on the box. European economic area. Okay, Now let's listen it for question number 12. Okay, here is another instruction for us to follow. No more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, here we can see stamp applies to condition. Okay, so blah blah can. Okay, now here we can see that non EEA citizens, none. Okay, restriction on working non-EEA citizens course lasts more than 6 months. Blah blah can work minimum 20 hours. Okay, can work 20 hours per week unless work placement is essential part of course. Okay, let's listen it.
Not an EEA national with a stamp saying restriction on working in your passport, or not an EEA national with a prohibition on working stamp in your passport. Now, if you are an EEA national, you can work freely in this country. You can work for an employer or be self-employed. If your dependents, such as your spouse or children, come with you to this country, they can work here as well, no matter what their nationality. This is thanks to EEA rules, and these rules also mean that students from this country studying in other EEA member states can work freely too. Now, if you have come here for a course lasting more than 6 months, the immigration authorities automatically put a restriction on working in your passport. It is worded in the following way: work and any changes must be authorized. This allows you to work under certain conditions. The first of these conditions is that during term time, you can work no more than 20 hours per week.
Okay, so during term time would be the answer. Let me put it on the box. During term time, TERM term TIM during term time. She was saying during term time you can work no more than 20 hours per week. So during term time would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question number 13. Cannot hold a blah blah position but can do full-time short-term work during holidays. Let me highlight it. Okay, let's listen it.
But you can work longer if the work placement is an essential part of your course. For example, the work period of a sandwich course. The second condition is that you cannot run your own business, be self-employed, or work as a professional sports person or entertainer. The third condition is that you cannot take up a permanent full-time position, though you can do full-time short-term work during the...
Okay, so the answer will be permanent full-time. Permanent full-time would be the answer. Let me explain it to you, because she was saying the third condition is that you cannot take up a permanent full-time position, though you can do full-time short-term work during holidays. Okay, so permanent full-time would be the answer. Okay, let's listen it for question number 14. Okay, cannot automatically include blah blah as evidence of ability to support yourself financially. Okay, let me highlight it. Okay, let's play the audio and listen it.
the holidays. If you are enrolled on a course lasting more than 6 months and you do not have this stamp, speak to an advisor at your institution immediately. Do not start work. It may be that a mistake has been made that needs to be corrected. However, if a mistake has been made, if you start work, you are breaking the law. This could have serious consequences for your future stay here. Another point that I would like to make is that even if you expect to be given a restriction on working, or already have one, you cannot include your earnings as evidence of your ability to support yourself financially.
Okay, include your earnings. So earnings would be the answer. Let me put it on the box. Okay. O-N-I-N-G-S, earnings would be the answer. Okay. Now let's move on. Okay. If you can provide evidence that you will be blah blah, passport stamp will normally be changed.
However, there are two exceptions to this rule. One is if you will be attending a publicly funded college or university and the institution guarantees that it will employ you and can provide details of your pay. The other is if you will be attending a sandwich course at a publicly funded college or university and the institution guarantees that there will be a job for you and can provide details of your pay. In those two cases, you can include these earnings as evidence of your ability to support yourself. If you are from a country outside the EEA and your course in this country lasts 6 months or less, the immigration authorities are likely to have put a prohibition on working in your passport. It is worded as follows: no work or recourse to public funds. This means that you are not allowed to work at all while you are here. If you have come for a course of 6 months or less and want to be able to work, for example, because your course involves a work placement, you should have explained this when you applied for entry clearance or when you landed, if you did not get entry clearance in advance. If you have already been given a prohibition on working, you may be able to apply to have it changed. Ask the international officer or student advisor at your institution for advice. If you can provide evidence that you will be on a placement, your passport stamp will normally be changed.
Okay, so she was saying if you can provide evidence that you will be on a placement, your passport stamp will normally be changed. So the answer we should write is, okay, where is my cursor? Okay, got it. The answer would be on a placement. Okay, on a placement, P-L-C. Okay, placement, placement. Okay, would be the answer. I already wrote that. Okay, let's move on. Legal, illegal to blah blah before getting stamp changed.
However, do not begin your placement before getting your stamp changed. Again, that is illegal and could affect your future studies in this country.
Okay, so she's saying do not begin your placement before getting your stamp changed. Again, that is illegal and could affect your future studies in this country. So let me put the answer in the box. Begin your placement. Okay, illegal to begin, begin your placement, placement. Okay, illegal to begin your placement before getting stamp or changed. Okay, now let's move on to question number 16. Okay, 17 to 12, 20. Here's another instruction for us to follow before moving on. So let's read it. No more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, the spouse or children of non-EEA student can work if Okay, student can work if they have a stamp. Okay, let's listen it.
Now, let's take a look at the situation if you are a non-EEA national and have brought your spouse or children with you. In that case, their passports will show the conditions that apply to them. They may be given either a prohibition on working, as explained above. This means they are not allowed to work, or they may have been given an entry clearance or stamp that does not mention employment at all. In this case, they are free to work in here without any limitations other than the right to start their own business. They will have been given this stamp if they have shown evidence that you, the student, have been given permission to be here for at least 12 months. Finally, let's take a look at working after your course ends. If you are a non-EEA citizen, until now the majority of non-EEA students have found it difficult to obtain permission to stay on in this and find any limited may have been given an entry clearance or stamp that does not mention employment at all. In this case, they are free to work in here without any limitation.
Okay, let me explain the answer to you. She's saying they may have been given an entry clearance or stamp that does not mention employment at all. In this case, they are free. Okay, so the answer we should write is mention employment. Okay, employment. Now let's listen it for question number 18. Okay, however, they may run blah blah. Okay, let's listen it.
Other than the right to start their own work in here without any limitations other than the right to start their own business.
Okay, so their own business would be the answer. Okay, as she was saying, other than they right start their own business, so their own business would be the answer. Let me put it. Okay, let's listen it for question number 19. Government blah blah on working after completion of your studies may change in the near future. Let me highlight it. Okay, let's listen it.
They will have been given this stamp if they have shown evidence that you, the student, have been given permission to be here for at least 12 months. Finally, let's take a look at working after your course ends. If you are a non-EEA citizen, until now the majority of non-EEA students have found it difficult to obtain permission to stay on in this country after their studies for work, apart from if they were training for a professional or specialist qualification before returning home. However, the government is currently reviewing its policies, and some changes may be introduced that make it easier for students to stay on for work. You can find information about the current position if you click on Work.
Okay, so she's saying, however, the government is currently reviewing its policy and some changes may be introduced that make it easier for students to stay on for work. So policies would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Policies. Okay, now let's move on to question number 20. Special rules apply to blah blah.
work permits on the website listed on the leaflet I have given you. I should say that special provisions have always applied to doctors, dentists, and nurses, and these will continue.
Okay, so she was saying, I should say that special provision have always applied to doctor, dentist, and nurse, and all will continue. Okay, so the answer we should put is R, doctor, dentist, and nurse. Okay. Okay, dentist, it should be doctors. Okay, doctors. Oh no. Dentist, nurses. Okay. That's all about part 2. Now let's move on to part 3. Here is another instruction for us to follow, no more than 3 words for each gap. Okay. Things that seem exciting and fascinating can later seem blah blah, according to Ali and Jatinder. Okay, let me highlight it. Fascinating. Okay, let's
Now
listen.
listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 30. So, Jatinder and Ali, how did you deal with culture shock when you first came here to study?
Well, Katerina, when I first arrived in the UK, I was just so excited to be living in a foreign country away from my parents that I just didn't really notice anything at first. How about you, Ali?
Yeah, same here. That's quite typical, isn't it? Everything seems new and fascinating, but after this initial enthusiasm wears off, all the new experiences may begin to overwhelm you. Things that you found exciting at first may now seem strange and a little frightening. Even
Strange and little frightening. So strong and frightening would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Strange, Strang, strange and frightening. F-O-I-G-H-T, frightening. Frightening. Okay, let's move on to question number 22. Even people from cultures that are blah blah, let me highlight it, to that in the UK can suffer from culture shocks.
minor differences, such as being unable to buy your usual brands of various products, can add to the sense of strangeness.
Yes, that's right. Then you may start to experience sudden mood changes and strong reactions, feeling lost, disoriented, and even irritated and resentful. Most of all, you may wish you were back among the familiar people and places at home. All international students can experience culture shock in some form, even those coming from countries with very similar lifestyles to those in the UK. It is important to understand that this reaction is entirely normal and that it will pass.
Okay, so what suggestions do you have for me?
Okay, so she was saying even those coming from countries with very similar lifestyle to those in the UK. So The answer would be similar. Okay, very similar. Now let's listen it for question number 23. Jatinder didn't attend an blah blah because her parents. Okay, we are out of time. Okay, let's listen. Jatinder didn't attend an blah blah because her parents wouldn't let her to go early. Okay, let me highlight it and let's listen it.
Now listen.
That's a overstrain unstrained. So a typical induction progress and how to use them. Help with registering for your academic program and social events where you can meet other students and staff. This can help you to start to get used to your new environment.
Yeah, I heard about those, but too late, unfortunately. Jatinder, did you go on an induction course like Ali?
No, I wish I had, but my parents wouldn't let me go a day.
So Jatinder didn't go on an induction course like Ali. So the answer we should is induction course. Okay, let me put it. Yep. Induction course. Okay, let's listen it for question number 24 to 26. Here's another instruction for us to follow. No more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Which member of the academy staff can help with course culture shock according to Ali? Okay, which member of the academy staff? Okay, let's listen it.
Every university has counselors who can give you practical advice on adjusting your new environment. These people have special training in offering advice and support, and they understand the challenges you face. They can listen to you sympathetically, offer practical suggestions, and refer you to other professionals if necessary. Your personal tutor and the staff in the international office of your college or university can also be helpful.
Have you heard about the buddy or mentoring system? Students who have been at the university or college for a longer period.
Okay, so personal tutors would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Personal tutor. Tutors. Okay. Now let's listen it for question number 25. What scheme does Jatinder talk about? Let's listen it.
Give advice to new arrivals and are available for help and guidance throughout the year. There is information on and are available college for a long system. Students who have been about the
college or university can also be helpful.
Have you heard about the buddy or mentoring system?
So Jatinder is talking about buddy or mentoring system. So the answer we should write is mentoring system. Okay, or buddy system, whatever you like to write, it would be correct. Okay, so I'm just going to write mentoring system. Okay, let me put it. Mentoring system. Okay, let's move on to question number 26. What does Ali say Katerina should do regarding her family? Let's listen it.
Students who have been at the university or college for a longer period give advice to new arrivals and are available for help and guidance throughout the year. There is information on schemes such as these at the Students' Union, or the International Student Association will help you become involved. I used the system when I arrived and found it really opened some doors socially. You know, I got to meet lots of people, like Ali, right?
Right, Katerina. I think it's also important to keep in touch with home. Use the telephone, email and conventional mail to keep in contact with your friends and family at home.
So, Ali says, right, Katrina, I think that it's also important to keep in touch with home. So, keep in touch would be the answer. Let me put it. TAUCH. That's okay. Now, let's listen it for question number 27. Complete the following sentence using. Okay, here's another instruction for us. No more than 3 words for each gap. Okay, the blah blah may also have information about national or cultural groups outside the university. Let me highlight it. Okay, let's listen
In
it.
larger towns or cities with large international communities like this one, you may be able to find people from your country. Spend some time with them. Many international students find that it helps to make contact with people from a similar background because they understand what you're going through. Spending time with people from your country can also be a relaxing break from the strangeness of the UK. You can speak your own language, eat your own foods and talk about what is going on back home.
Yes, and don't forget that the university has a variety of cultural societies, as well as an active international students association. Ask at the Student Union. They may also have information about national or cultural groups outside the institution.
So should sing ask at the student union. They may also have information about national and cultural groups outside the institution. So student union would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Student union. Okay, let's move on. Ali suggests that staying blah blah can help overcome culture shock. Let's play it.
Another thing you should try to do is to keep healthy and active. Make an effort to exercise regularly. You will.
Okay, so healthy and active would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Healthy and active the answer. Okay, because he was saying another thing you should try to do is keep healthy and active. So that's what I already wrote. Okay, now let's listen to focus on 29. Katrina decides to register at the blah blah. Let's listen.
Will feel better, and it can also be a good way to meet people. Eat a balanced diet and find a shop that sells food from your part of the world, so that you can enjoy familiar meals when you want them.
That's a really good idea. I'll sign up at the University Sports Centre this afternoon.
Okay, so Katrina says that's a really good idea. I will sign up at the University Sports Center this afternoon. So she will sign up at the University Sports Center. So Sports Center would be the answer. Let me put it. Sports Center would be the answer. Okay, sports center. Now let's move on to question 31. For religious people, the student union has a register of blah blah. Let's listen it.
I don't know whether you believe in God, but if you do, remembering your faith can be helpful and comforting. If you follow a religion and worship regularly at home, you can keep this up while you're in the UK. It can provide a sense of stability and be a link to your life at home. Every major religion in the world is represented here, and most large cities have Muslim, Hindu, Sikh and Buddhist centres, as well as synagogues and churches of all denominations. The student union keeps a list of places of worship.
I'm not religious.
So, place of worship would be the answer. Let me put it. Places of worship. Would be the answer. As she was saying, the student union keeps a list of places of worship. So that's why the places of worship would be the answer. Okay, that's all about part 3. Let's jump into part 4. Okay, here's another instruction for us to follow. No more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Okay, let's read it. Which course is this one based on? Okay,
But I do. Now listen carefully and answer questions.
Presentation on our online course, An Introduction to Electronics, which runs over 10 weeks and starts on 8th of May. Let me just say at the beginning that if you cannot make this date, please send me an email about the next course, and I will send you a list of future dates. My email is the front of your brochures. Now, let me tell you something about the course. Based upon our popular 2-day overview of electronics course, this new online course will introduce you to...
So the answer we should write is overview of electronics. Okay, let me write it. O-V-E-I view of electronic. Next, okay. Electronics. Now let's move on to question number 32. What doesn't the course cover? Let's listen it.
To the basic ideas behind electronic circuits. The course will consist of 10 units each, of which will involve around 5 hours of study. The course is designed to act both as an introductory course and as a refresher course. After taking the course, you should have a good idea of how electronic systems work and how they are made. In particular, the course focuses on the design of a hi-fi amplifier. The course is limited to analog electronics, where signals are represented by continuously variable voltages, and will not cover digital electronics, where
Okay, so and here's saying and will not cover digital electronics. So digital electronics would be the answer. Let me put it. Digital electronics. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What 2 items does each participant receive? Let's listen it.
signals are represented by discrete numbers. Students should normally have a reasonable proficiency in school maths and science. Study to GCSE level is sufficient for most of the course, though study to A level will enable a full understanding of the more advanced topics. Students on the course will be supplied with a copy of Terry Fitt's Fundamentals of Electronics. This will be used for directed reading, assignments and further study. It also serves as a useful reference source. The student should have PC available and a basic knowledge of Windows in order to use the simulation software from the CD-ROM that comes with this book. Now, who is...
So books and CD-ROM would be the answer. Let me put it. Book, CD-ROM. Would be the answer, because he was saying student can, on the course will be supplied with copy of theory phase fundamentals of electronics. That means it's a book. Okay, then he was saying that students should have PC available and a basic knowledge of Windows in order to use the simulation software from the CD-ROM. So that means the answer we should write is book and CD-ROM. Okay, that's I already wrote. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Question number 34. Can non-professionals take the course? Let's play it.
Who is this course designed for? This course is intended for individuals with little prior knowledge of electrical or electronic engineering who want to get a feeling for the subject, and for individuals whose knowledge is rusty or out of date. A previous exposure to basic science and maths at...
Okay, so he was saying who is this course designed for, and he was saying he was answering again that this course is intended for individuals with little prior knowledge of electrical or electronics engineering. Okay, so that means it would be yes. Okay, let me put it yes. Okay, can non-professional take the course? So it would be yes. Okay, as he was answering. Now let's listen it for question number 35. Okay, a quick insight into modern electronic emphasis on physical device and systems assume no blah blah. Let's listen it.
School will be assumed. Maximum benefit will accrue to those who have attended higher education in a technical subject or who have experience in a related area. Typical attendees may include those in jobs which bring them into contact with electronics, such as draftspersons, PCB designers, production and assembly personnel and software designers, those working with electronic products, such as managers and salespersons, those coming into electronics from a related field, such as scientists or mathematicians, and those simply curious to find out about this all-pervasive technology. The benefits of this course are that, first, it gives you a quick insight into modern electronics. It also puts emphasis on practical devices and systems. Unlike many other courses, no prior knowledge is assumed.
No prior knowledge is assumed. So prior knowledge would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Prior prior knowledge, LED, prior knowledge. Let's listen it. Focus on 36. Can function as a blah blah hands-on simulation certificate of completion. Let's play it.
But previous exposure to school-level science and maths is assumed. Fourthly, it can be used as a refresher course. Fifth, there is the benefit of getting hands-on simulations. And finally, all delegates completing the...
Okay, so the answer would be refresher course. Let me put it. Refresher course. Okay, as he was saying, it can be used as a refresher course. Okay, now let's listen it for question 37. complete the following information on the course content using no more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, unit 1, let's listen it.
Course will receive. Now, finally, let me just quickly go through the course content. Please remember that this course is intended for individuals with limited prior knowledge of electrical or electronic engineering. Unit 1 looks at electronic systems, including an...
Okay, so he was saying unit 1 looks at electronic systems. So electronic system would be the answer. Let me put it. Electronic system. So okay. Electronic system. Let's listen for question number 38, unit 6, blah blah, inductor and transformers. Okay, let's listen it.
An introduction to the idea of signals represented by voltages. Wires used to transfer signals and voltage from one place or box or component to another, and boxes or components manipulating voltages, particularly amplifying them. Unit 2 takes a look at Ohm's law, the linear relationship of voltage and current, and the concept of resistance. It also looks at resistors and resistor networks. Unit 3 focuses on op-amps, providing an introduction to the ideal op-amp and its applications. The next slide tells us that Unit 4 is concerned with capacitors and AC circuits. The theory and applications of capacitors and their use in transient and AC circuits. Unit 5 looks at frequency response and filters, including both passive and active filters. Unit 6 takes a look at magnetism,
So magnetism would be the answer. Let me put it. Magnetism. T-I-S-M. Let me explain to you. As he was saying, unit 6 takes a look at magnetism. So magnetism would be the answer. Okay. Now let's listen it for question number 39, unit 8. Okay. Blah blah. Semiconductors. Okay. Let's listen it.
and transformers. Looking at this next slide, we can see that Unit 7 covers RL and RLC circuits, including tuned filters and crossover networks. Unit 8 is entitled An Introduction to Semiconductors.
An introduction to semiconductors. So introduction to would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Introduction to. Okay, would be the answer. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, here you can also write N. Okay, as we are allowed to write 3 words. Okay, it would be no problem. Now let's listen for question number 10. Blah blah and further applications. Okay, let's play it and listen it.
It covers diodes and rectifiers, both theory and applications. This unit also looks at special purpose diodes. Unit 9 covers transistors, particularly bipolar transistors, including theory and typical circuits. The final unit, Unit 10, is a review unit with a little look at further applications.
Okay, so review unit would be the answer. Let me put it. A review. R-E-V-I-E-W unit. Let me explain to you. As he was saying, Unit 10 is a review unit with a little look at further applications. So that's all about today's lesson. Let's submit it and let's check out how much we scored. Okay, before that I need to click each answer one more time because we was out of time at the middle. Just give me a few seconds. let's submit it. Okay, we got our 9 out of 9 and we are correct. 39 question out of 40. Let's check which one. Okay, this one is mistake. It should be personal tutor, but we write personal personal tutors. I don't think it's a mistake. It's correct. Okay, so that's all about today's lesson. See you in the next class. Bye.